What's up? Greetings. I'm Inflected Gold Waters. Some of you might be wondering what that name means. You haven't took the time to look it up. To inflect, in the grammatical sense, means to cause to shift back in position. So I'm going to attempt to do that now on a natural level. Those of you that know me know that I basically think from a spiritual mind and spiritual perspective. But I have a message to the young brothers that believe you're black, which is a term I despise. I'm not black, and I'll get in that in another video. But I want to talk to you young brothers, and even you older ones as well, about understanding manhood. And the reason why I say you older ones, because I want you to do as I've been doing, to reach out to the younger brothers and try to set them on the right path. I mean, you've had at least the life experience to know that certain choices you have made have ended up in uh, placing you in a bad situation or a bad condition. But anyway, the 9 points of manhood. The first one is discipline. That's self-discipline. First and foremost, as a man, you should be able to have self-discipline. You should be able to understand what that means. We think of discipline, and many times we think about disciplining others, but we don't think about keeping ourselves in line, ourselves in check by the choices we make. And as a man, being what it means to be a man means that you are the leader, you are the provider, you are the protector. And you can't do any of these things without discipline. You can't lead without discipline because you won't know when to receive wise counsel. You can't provide without discipline because everything that you gain, you will consume or throw away, mainly on your lust. And you most definitely can't protect without discipline because unless you have discipline, you will not train yourself to protect in a physical battle or even a gunfight. So discipline is key. Number 2 is desire and priorities. Many of young men, even me in my youth, was led by my desires. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about myself and my desires because they truly were not sexual. But a lot of brothers today, your desire is purely sexual. Only thing you look at a woman for is to have sex with her. You have lost your tribal mind and have adapted this European mind of corruption. It has corrupted you, whereas you despise, disrespect, and basically hate the African American woman, or as you call her, the black woman, particularly the dark-skinned sister, which happens to be the finest woman on the planet. And that's just my personal opinion based upon my personal taste. I thank God that I haven't been totally brainwashed and that I came out of being brainwashed to think that, well, I can't even say that's not true. I never thought a Caucasian woman was a beautiful woman. African-American women are beautiful to me. They just are, always have been. But anyway, back to the desire. Your desire has to be more than sexual desire. You should have a desire to lead. You should have a desire to protect. You should have a desire to provide. You should have a desire to have more than just a car and a place to stay. You should have a desire for a peaceful, tranquil community. You should have a desire for family. And I'm not just talking about mama, daddy, sister, and brother. I'm talking about wife and children. You should have a desire for more than just a woman and a side chick. You should have more than a desire to be a baby's daddy. You should have a desire to be a man, to be a father, to be a husband. You should have your priorities right. That's what it means to be a man. It's not about how many women you can screw and how many numbers you can get. That's not being a man. That's being a boy that has a heart on and don't know what to do with himself. That's being basically a dog in heat. Okay. The third thing is leadership. You need to know how to lead. Any wise leader leads by counsel. He has comrades that he can go to and talk about. The president, he has his presidential cabinet. He has the Joint Chiefs, and he even has Congress to hear from. So you need to look at yourself as a president, as a king of your life, and therefore, in order to rule correctly or lead correctly, you need to surround yourselves with positive-minded people. If all your friends think about is blunt, having sex and having a good time, you're going on a path that is basically worthless, and it leads to nothing but you being broke, sexed up, probably diseased up, and or in debt because you have child support and children that you're running from because you're mentally and honestly ashamed that you're inept to raise them right. The next thing is provider. Being a provider is much more than money. You got to understand, being a father and leading is much more than providing money. And I'm not saying you're not supposed to provide money because you need to. In the world that we live in, you need to provide money. More than that, you need to know how to survive, because a provider maintains not only himself, but those that are dependent on him, and he's able to survive in tough times. You look at what happened in Katrina. And if any of y'all, have any questions, come to my page, check it out. I got a video there. It talks about it. The brothers and sisters, and those of you know history, recent history, know how the people in Katrina were stranded. And that's because the men in the homes, the men in the community had no plan, had no mind, no consciousness of being a provider. They had no way of escape. They had nothing planned and set aside, stored up to provide for the family just in case something like this terrible thing would happen. They had no boats to escape. I mean, they were just stuck because they didn't have the mind of a provider. Brothers and sisters, brothers mainly, you got to get into manhood. Get out of this foolishness that that you're in. I mean, it's time to grow up, man. It's time to wake up. You have to see the world that you're living in, and you cannot depend on the government to provide for you. Black men, you are the laughing stock of the world. You run around and the only thing you're proud about is the way you build in the size of your dick. I mean, really? You have to be able to provide more than that. You have to be able to provide more than semen producing children that you're not providing for. You're not providing education for. And I'm not talking about sending them to school. You train your children. You teach your children. You're not providing them with the proper nutrition. You depend on the government and business to provide you with everything to feed them. How about growing your own home garden? Get your own home garden. Get out of the projects. Get a home for your family. Provide. The next thing is protecting. As a man, you're supposed to be able to protect yourself, your family, your community, and your friends, which is all one and the same. And that means protect them from more than just the elements, but protect them from the brutality that our people are facing. We have too many African American women and children dying at the hands of African American youth, young men, and older men, and the police. We have too many dying off, and you guys are not providing protection. I don't understand it. I don't understand how can you be a man, call yourself a man, think you are a man, and it doesn't cross your mind to know that you need to be able to protect. You need to be able to provide for in times of trouble. What would you do if the earthquake came, a tornado came, and tore up the nearest grocery store? What are you doing for food for your family? How are you going to protect your home and your community from vandalism or vandals? And worse, from these nuts that hate you because of the color of your skin? Okay, that was number 5. Number 6, it's 9 of them. Number 6 is love and being loving. Brothers, you have to have more than love for yourself. You have to have more than love for your sexual desire to get off. You need to have a love for your people. If you don't love your people, it is something wrong with you. There is not a man that has ever lived that did not love himself. Even those that commit suicide do it out of self-love. They are trying to escape the pain in their mind or in their heart because they love themselves. I don't understand how you can call yourself a so-called black man, and many of you are, but I don't know how you can call yourself a black man and that you love your homies and you love your family, but you disrespect your women. You know, you look at your women as thoughts and hoes and bees. You know, you think it's a positive thing to be a player or a pimp. You know, a pimp is nothing but an abuser, and today's players are nothing but liars. You're not a player. A player is Hugh Hefner. He's a player. He has a Playboy bunnies. He has the Playboy mansion. And he screws any woman and every woman he wants to when he wants to. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what a player is. These women in the house all know what he's doing. He's a player. You know, not a liar running around cheating on a woman, telling her she's the only one, and you're telling that same lie to 5 or 6 different women, and then thinking good about yourself because you can tell a lie and deceive a woman that's trusting you, wanting to love you. That's nothing. That's not being a man. That's being a punk. That's being doggish. You got to become a vessel of love. You really need to become a vessel of love where you love yourself, you respect yourself, and you love that woman that's in that corner for you. And if she's not the one for you, love her enough to tell her the truth. Baby, you ain't the one, and move on. Don't sex her up. Try to find out if she's the one first. And if you know she's the one, then let her know from the beginning she's the one. And try to make her the one. And that's not your boo or your baby's mama. That's your wife. Be a vessel of love and show love to one another. Not just your woman, but your brothers in the hood. I mean, start speaking to one another. Get out of this foolishness of gangbanging. You know, you got the police killing us, the Klanmen killing us, and blacks killing blacks, as y'all call yourselves. Number 7, a follower. You have to know when to follow. You need to understand the mind, the gifted mind of a woman, and you need to get a woman that's mature in this and allow her to guide you into things. And I'm not talking about being some henpecked clown that everything a woman say you do. I'm talking about receiving the information she has to share with you about whatever situation, business that you're trying to get into, academics you're trying to deal with. She has a mind, and it's an extraordinary mind. It's given to be it's given to help you. So you need to know how to be a leader and listen to her. Your wife, your woman should be your greatest counselor. She should be your most dependable aide. She should be your right hand. You know, she should be your alternate ego. She should be you. Number 8, emotions. Men, too many men are emotionally immature. You need to grow up. You know, there's nothing wrong with being an emotional man and acting like you're not. You're lying to yourself. Women are not the only ones emotional. That's why men go off and snap and kill people. Excuse me, snap and jump on this woman because he doesn't know how to communicate with her. He doesn't know how to treat her to get her to do what he wants him to do. So he's so emotionally imbalanced, he snaps and brings harm to her. You know, you got to grow up, brothers. You got to be stronger men than that. And number 9, understanding. You know, they say, they have a saying that knowledge is power, and then they turn around and say ignorance is bliss. I mean, have some understanding. Understand words, the meaning of them, and the effects of them in your life. How can knowledge be power, but ignorance is bliss? Ignorance is happiness. I mean, really? No. When you're ignorant, you're not happy. You're delusional. And if you don't have understanding, knowledge is worthless. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of knowledge of something if you don't have understanding of how to use that knowledge. You brothers out here, you got mechanical skills. You need to go get more training and open up a mechanic shop or open up a chain of mechanic shops. You sisters out here that got skills in doing hair, you need to open up a beauty shop and beauty supply chains. We need to quit being the consumers and understand the world that we live in. You know, we live in a capitalist society, and we're being capitalized on. because we going for the okie doke. Everything advertised on TV, we want. You know, that's success is a house and a Bentley, and that's what we want because they tell us, you know, that's not understanding. You need to be men, you need to be women, you need to be mature and have an understanding of what it means, success means to you. Success to me is having a roof over my head, a car to drive, providing for my wife and children. Don't have a wife anymore, thank God. That one I don't, but I'm looking forward to, maybe. But I am succeeding in educating my children, helping my children, guiding my children to the reality of this life and providing for them. You know, I have other plans that I will execute at the proper time, you know, business plans. But brothers, please wake up. You know, stop being manipulated by the media telling you the best woman is a pale woman or so-called white woman. You know, I mean, how long are you going to get played before you realize what's going on? You know, we're disrespecting. No, I can't say we. Y'all are disrespecting our sisters, you know, physically abusing them, mentally disturbing them, and then talking about them when they say, to hell with you. It's time to man up. It really, man up, become adult. And just because you didn't have a father around, I didn't either. I met my father when I was 45 years old. I was a man working at 12. I worked and went to school at 12 years old. Had my own business at 18. So the fact you don't have a father in your life is no excuse that you do not know how to be a man. There comes a time, sooner or later, that you as a male need to examine yourself, and that time is 17, 18 years old. You need to examine yourself, examine your situation, and know what it takes to survive in this life. How to provide, how to protect. And if you don't have the equipment, you need to go and get it. If it's knowledge, you need to seek the knowledge. If it's weapons, you making yourself one and gaining one. You have your constitutional right to get it, you need to get it. You need to quit playing this tough guy game, going into prison, and becoming a statistic. You know, it's time to wake up, brothers and sisters. Please, men, man up.